Rake making used to be part of rural self-sufficiency, and was an important sideline for the poor rural population of Rarburg in the northern Eifel. Until the 50s, was almost half the inhabitants work in agriculture and forestry. Most farms, however, had no more than hectares to cultivate. Namely, the stony ground is not very fruitful and only of limited suitable for arable land. The natural landscape in the valleys of the Ruhr Sea area is mainly characterized by oak and beech forests. The types of wood also grow here that the rake maker needs for his work. For example, the hazel bush and the osier. For producing the rake shaft and the rake teeth, these light types of wood are used. Together with the farmer Nelson, the trained carpenter Ludwig Lauscher demonstrates once again the one that was practiced until the end of the 50s. Rake making. For the rake handle, you need a branch from the hazel bush. The reddish-white wood is easy to work with. You hit the wood with the bill hook. This 20 to 35 centimeter long cutting knives also serves to sweep the branch. The branch is then shortened to body length. Because of its bifurcation, the branch is also called a fork. The forks are different lengths. The rake teeth are made from the wood of the wicker. Manufactured, the material is soft and easy to work with. Ludwig Listener only manufactured the rakes for his own use, while others Rarburger the rake making as operated as a sideline to farming. One of them is Bernhard Nelson. The ones beaten here. Branch forks worked on the fireplace. Around the branches of the hazel bush to be able to better free them from their bark, the rake maker puts them in a bed of embers. With the draw knife, a small cutting knife, he peels the already cooled forks. The heat of the embers also serves this purpose to soften the already flexible wood. The crooked branches can therefore be bent more easily, so that a straight handle is created. Sometimes it leaves embers behind, burn marks on the finished forks. In the meantime, Ludwig Listener has started the willow trunk into individual sawing pieces of wood for the rake teeth. Each measures 22 centimeters, so that the pieces of wood have a uniform length. The finished rake teeth will be about 18 centimeters long. Bernard Nelson splits the pieces of wood with the axe on a chopping block. Depending on the thickness, it comes in 8 to 16 pieces. Before the Second World War have often unemployed young people the willow trunks and forks collected in the forests. They sold the wood for pennies to the only one full-time professional rake maker in Ruhrberg who offered the goods in Aachen and the surrounding area. The highlight of Ruhrberg rake production was in the emergency years between the two world wars. At that time, almost every second during the winter months, 2-row rakes. Many covered with their own needs or provided for relatives and acquaintances. Others sold the rakes on a larger scale during the spring and summer months. Bernard Nelson, for example, transported on a tour, 10 to 20 each, rake with his bike, into the surrounding towns and sold them around. The harvested wood and the bundled forks now bring the two rake makers into the home workshop for further processing. The two rake makers, we now produce the rakes together in one workshop, which was otherwise not common. To show the further work steps was for the film, which is still complete, equipped carpenter's workshop used, which Ludwig Listener took over from his father. The rake maker. The rake teeth work on the shaving horse. The shaving horse, to a certain thickness with the draw knife. By stepping on the pedal, you clamp the tooth between the lower support and the upper one, moving part, firmly on the head. In craft and farm businesses, was the cutting bench the universal device for wood processing. The teeth remain a bit square here, so that you have a better grip later have in the rake head. For the rake head into which the teeth are inserted, the rake makers use hard hornbeam wood. On the 70 to 75 centimeters long and 2 to 3 centimeters thick bowl draws the width of the flat to Ludwig Listener, what they call the rake head in Ruhrberg. The plank is on the planing bench with the bench hook clamped. With the frame saw, the rake maker cuts the wood to individual plates. In a previous one, marked distance of at least 3 centimeters are made with the hand auger. The insert holes for the rake teeth are drilled. The number of teeth is, depending on the type and size of the rake, between 15 and 24 pieces. Then the rake maker drills 2 holes for the crotch of the handle. The 2 conical holes are hollowed out with a spoon bit. On the shaving horse trims, Ludwig Listener cuts the ends of the rake maker with handsaw, Fuchsschwanz, off. He straightens the board with the draw knife, whereby the rake head is sharpened. Cutting off the side edges of the board is referred to as rake edges. The rake head is ready. Now you still have to use the fork, and the teeth are processed and inserted. The rake maker peels the forks on the shaving horse. He uses the draw knife to sharpen the handle at the top. This way you can stake the rake. During the hay harvest for a break from work, easily stick into the hay or soil. The stem is also protruding from branches freed, so that its surface smoothed and fits well in the hand. Here Bernard Nelson is already setting the fork. Similar to teeth, the forks are sharpened squarely with the draw knife, to keep her good and tight into the 2 conical holes in the rake head, to be able to insert. The rake maker fits the teeth with the draw knife, finally the hole size. Afterward, he drives his teeth into the flat with a hammer, where it starts in the middle. After every tooth turns to Bernhard Nelson, he turns it and drives in the teeth alternately. This procedure contributes to stability, for which the Ruhrberg rakes were known. With an unfinished flat, it marks the final length of the rake teeth. Then Bernhard Nelson shortens the teeth with the draw knife. First he processes the inserted teeth, roughly from left to right. In the opposite direction, the fine machining then takes place. First, in doing so, he shortens the teeth to the same length and sharpens them at the same time. He repeats the same thing on the other side of the head. A rake tooth breaks off during haymaking, so it can easily be replaced with a new one. The rake maker sets the fork into the rake head and drives with a hammer the two parts together firmly. Then he nails the fork in place. The protruding fork ends saws off Bernhard Nelson with the handsaw. Finally, the rake maker tries the finished rake. The special features of the Ruhrberg rake lie in its easy handling, due to the low weight and the placed at an angle, double-sided rake head. The hay can be made with both sides of the rake gathered together and be turned. That means you don't need to turn the rake. Both left and right-handed people can use it. Still in the 50s, were in the Eifel village of Ruhrberg, rake made at home. But with the decline of the farms in the northern Eifel, the craft also declined, doing the rake making forgotten as a part-time craft.